We're set and we're live. Hello everybody. It is so good to be here with you tonight. I have the great pleasure tonight to have one of my favorite people on, Jeanne Lewis. But before we get started with that, as you're listening, now that we have 6 of you on here, as you're listening, go ahead and put your name, where you're from, if you want to give a weather report, or if you just want to say hi, do that. Give us some thumbs up that you love us. Give us some hearts. Do, 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 that you love us, and we'll get started. So, welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That's me and Quinn. And tonight I am so fortunate to have Jeanne Lewis. I'm going to tell you what I know about Jeanne Lewis, or Jeannie. I call her Jeannie, whether she wants me to or not. It doesn't really matter. I call her Jeannie. Jeanne Lewis joined us a few years back, maybe 3 or 4.
It was
Um,
right at the start of
COVID.
COVID.
Right. So right at the start of COVID. So she's been hanging out with me for about 3 years, 3.5 years. And she's from Or oh,
Arvada,
I always say
Colorado.
Orvada?
Arvada.
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 Okay. So Orvada is a town in Oregon and Nevada, right? And we call it Orvada. Orvada, whatever, Oregon or Orvada, Nevada, whichever one it belongs to. I don't know. It's on the border. And then there's, of course, Arvada, Colorado. So it's just fairly near Boulder, fairly near Denver area, but she's out there in a wind tunnel in Colorado. And so I love it because as soon as I get my weather report, I tell Jeannie and she gets it 18 hours later because I'm in Boise, Idaho. So it flies through here. Anyway, so I know that Jeannie has been a caregiver for her mom. And I know that Jeannie works really hard to take good care of herself with lipedema. But Jeannie's always giving good advice to those of us who are dealing with lipedema and who are living in a world that we don't fit in just so. And because of that, I thought it would be wonderful for me to introduce our community to the amazing, wonderful Jeanne Lewis. And so, hello, Jeanne. I'm gonna
Hello.
let you. I'm gonna let you have the floor, and I would love to
Okay.
know how you found out you had lipedema.
Um, I suspected I had lipedema probably in 2013, 14. I saw a show on the doctors, and they were talking about Karen Herbst, and it was that Dr. Armand, I think, from the oh plastic surgeon
Brazil?
doing no from the Beverly Hills. He did
Okay.
the lipedema surgery, and there was a woman there, and he diagnosed her. And so I looked up Dr. Herbst, and I was all excited. I took it to my doctor. I had printed off everything I could, and she said, "That's an internet disease. There's no such thing." And so I kind of, let it go. Couldn't find another doctor. And then in 2017, I went to England. And when I came home, I ended up getting cellulitis and my legs on swelling and stuff. So I convinced her to send me to a vein specialist. They diagnosed me with lymphedema and sent me to the lymphedema clinic. And I got lucky that two of the main therapists there had their doctorates and they had done close training. Gunther Close is just up the street from where I live. His clinic is. And so when I went in, she goes, "You have lymphedema, but you have lipedema." And I started crying and stuff because I was so relieved that it explained it. And she handed me Catherine Sale's address, email
Wow.
for the Lipedema project. She says, look this up and it will give you information. And so I started, like you, lurking on the free webinars and different things. And then when they offered, it was the second go round of the tribe, I went ahead
Oh,
and
yeah.
joined it. But it was like a life changing that I found people who understood what I was going through
Right,
and
right.
everything.
So
And
so even though you had a diagnosis of lipedema, they couldn't really tell you what to do. You had
the
to
ones, the
check out?
lipedema, yes, they did tell me. They did decongestive therapy. They put me into compressions, which we learned. They learned stuff, and I learned because they put in custom jobs, and they were so hard I could not get them on by my and be able to leave the house because I'd be
Right,
housebound. And
right.
so on one of the sites, I'd seen somebody talk about bike shorts, crotchless bike shorts.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so you're going right now into a different topic, and
okay.
I want you to talk to me a little bit, um, because now you're talking about compression. So we went from diagnosis, right,
And they
to
did decongestive.
decongestive therapy, right? So when you got your decongestive therapy, you did it right there at the close clinic?
No, I didn't go to the close clinic. I went to the lipedema clinic at my hospital.
Okay, okay.
But they
But
had
you
been trained and they knew Gunther. He uh, helped do lymphedema month in March.
uh-huh,
They would run it through the different hospitals. And so they were aware of him and had done some training with him.
for lymphedema. And now see, um, Gunther Close is who you're talking about, and that's who Leslin teaches
Right.
for. So Leslin was trained by him and now teaches for him. So when sometimes we'll say, "Oh, Leslin's teaching a course," she's teaching a course for Gunter Close. So
Right.
it's kind of like a full circle that you are actually able to be treated by somebody who was connected to Leslin as well.
Right.
Okay, so
And I've
when
met him.
oh, you have?
Oh,
In
yeah.
person? Like
In
person,
person.
person? Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
But he was at two different, three different conferences, lymphedema monthly conferences and stuff.
Hold on a minute, Jeannie, I'm sorry, I had
Okay.
a six-year-old interruption. Um, so so when you went to him on the conference okay, sorry, I had a six-year-old interruption, and now I can't think. What will you repeat yourself, please?
Okay. Um, he would be, I don't know, anybody, they used to do in person lymphedema month, you know, the lymphedema, not lipedema, but they
Right.
do combine it. And since he was just up the street in the or up the next town up, he was one of the sponsors of it,
Okay, okay.
or putting it together. And so it was, they would move not just one hospital would have it every time, and it'd make it easier for people on the front range and different things. They moved it around to different places, but he was always there.
Oh, that's
And
so you got to meet him because he went from place to place and
yeah,
everything.
he would always give a talk
Oh,
at each one.
that's cool. And so then after you found out you had lipedema, after
Hmm.
you had your decompression therapy, then your therapist got you into compression.
Right.
And but the compression was too stiff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a custom, what, grade 2, which is fairly heavy, and I could not pull it up on my with my hands and stuff.
So you didn't have the strength in your hands to be able to pull up the.
No, it was so stiff and stuff, and to be able to
Well,
get it up and down was impossible.
so I think that a lot of our community members have that issue though, because they'll say, I can't get my compression up, or once they get it up, they can't pull it down.
Yeah.
So what did you do to resolve that situation?
Okay. We ended up getting, or somebody on one of the other lipedema sites had mentioned they had crotchless bike shorts. And so I talked to my therapist and we talked to Compressor Guru and they said, sure, we can make them. So they made a long, the bike short, crotchless, and then they cut and made 2 thigh-high legs, the regular leggings. And so I could put the leggings on and then pull the bike short up. And then I could go about my daily routine and stuff and didn't have to take them off until bedtime.
Okay, so then when you're wearing your okay, because my brain doesn't
Right.
okay, so you put the thigh highs on
Mhm.
and then the crotchless bike shorts over the top of them so they go to your knees or
We
your knees?
started out mid thigh, and those were really because of the way my legs were. They kind of rolled a little bit, so we made them longer. We made them more of a Bermuda bike short, almost to my knee, because that's where I have the fat pad type thing. And so I was able to pull them up that way. And it also gave me the extra compression that I wasn't getting. They lowered it to from a grade 2 to a grade 1, the lighter. And so it gave me on my hips really a grade 2. It was a double layer. And it was the only way I could go about living my life was by having those. Whoop, you're
Okay.
muted. Oh,
No, it's okay. I have a lot of
oh.
noise in the next room. I needed to mute so that the audience didn't hear world screaming and carrying on. So thank you very much for your patience. Sometimes they forget that the door into grandma's room doesn't go both directions. So when you got your custom fit um, compression, you had to it wasn't just like, okay, give me custom fit compression. Here we go. They fit off and running. You had to continually work with a fitter? How long did it take for you to get that all worked out?
Well, we did have to do 2 fittings because of they had cut them wrong the one time, a different time. They've really got to be measured just so on it. Um,
Right.
but it was like the first pair, we did just go to the middle of my thigh. But
Mhm.
then with the extra, when I got the next brand, we went longer and different things. But it just anybody who travels, that's the way to go is to get the
Yeah.
crotchless one and wear a long skirt.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, and I would think that with a crotchless one, they would have to be a well-cut crotchless one, right? So that they actually work instead of so
Okay.
you don't end up having a mess?
Yeah, okay. There's some of them that um I think it was Veronica was talking about some of them that are like uh pantyhose that are
Right.
considered crotch. Those, yeah, no, these are especially they cut out width. Um sort of like, in your pants, you have the little cotton gusset thing. They cut
Yeah.
that out. And so then when you put them on, it stretches out. And, uh,
Okay, okay. Yeah, see, to me, I guess it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around it, but when you explain it that way, so it's not like there's just a slit
no, it
in
is
the
uh,
actual full piece
yeah,
of
it's got like in the back, it's probably that far, and then it comes up. And so you
right,
have a very, and then you just wear underwear over the top and stuff.
okay. So you put those on before you put your panties on so that you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
and you don't wear them as, like, pants. Which
No.
which I guess, I wear my compression with the tunic top. So I guess it's just one more layer that you have to put, mine on. And Winetta says, love my crotchless Marina recovery garment." So that's another brand, and you get yours from Jobst, right?
Yes.
Jobst? Yeah. Okay. So I know that we're going to be talking today about some of the accommodations that or modifications that you have to make to live in this crazy world, right? Um, so I am going to say here in Julie King writes, she just she just got hers and today and she's wearing them right now. So apparently that's the Marina recovery garment. So that's cool. So everyone take a look and see what Winetta has to say. I'm going to show that again. It's Marena recovery garment and they're crotchless. So that means she can put those puppies on just like Jean does. Throw a pair of undies if she needs to throw a pair of undies on, and then she doesn't have to worry about pulling those things down and back up every couple of hours just to be able to go to the bathroom and readjusting them because once you get them adjusted, they're on for the day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? Um, so
Well, I had the problem with those other ones on getting them up. I was black and blue across my back trying to get them up. My fingertips had blisters all across them.
oh my
Uh,
gosh, Jeannie.
until and so it was like I called the therapist and said, "Can't do this," And so then we came up with a plan.
You got blisters on your fingertips.
Yeah, because
Oh,
yeah, they said, "Oh, use dish gloves."
uh-huh.
They would come. It just worked them right through. They tore. I
Right.
now, if you the Gorilla gloves you get at the Home Depot or whatever, they
Right.
come in from extra small clear up to extra extra large or whatever. You can
Right.
find some to fit your hands. They last and are wonderful.
Okay, so your compression wear, I guess donning gloves is what they would call them,
They're like a
correct?
Dawn glove, right? But they're
Right?
you can get one or two pair, depending if they're on sale for um, around $5
And you just get those at the hardware store, and they're
at the.
called Gorilla Gloves at Home Depot or Lowe's or
Mhm.
wherever, and so you get them tight enough that they
I
don't
wear
slip, right?
I wear extra. My hands are little on
Right.
it, and so the small they fit tight, so they aren't getting bunched, and just they last
They
a
last a long
really long.
and for $5 or $6, $7 or whatever, a pack of 2 or whatever.
Well, you buy Joe or Donning gloves from the compression people, and they're at least $10 or online,
Right, right.
and yeah,
Well, and if you think about it, if you could get something that's inexpensive, like the Gorilla Gloves, then you can go ahead and keep a pair in your car, or wherever you need to keep them, so that if you need to make adjustments, you can make adjustments with the gloves, and then you're not getting blisters
yeah,
on your fingertips. That's so smart. So, I'm gonna go ahead and greet some of our people. We have a lot
okay.
of comments. It looks like, Chris, Nobriga's here from California. Hi, Chris. And Lisa's here from Illinois. Kristen, our Kristen that we see regular, Kristen Wagon, she's here from um, California, from the Sacramento area. Allison's here from Florida. Fractal Beans, her name is Elena from London. Hello from across the pond. Julie's here from North Carolina. Hi, Julie. Marilee's from the Great Northwest. Julie Rosa's here from Camarillo. Hi, Julie. Um, and let's see, Winetta's here from Alaska. Julie King's here. And then Natasha's here. So it looks like a lot of people are here taking on this conversation. So let's see, what else do we have? Because some people are making comments. She says, Lynetta says, I got my sister a pair of donning gloves to help me after surgery. She's like a crazed garment fitter now. When she gets those gloves on, she's coming after me to adjust my garments. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Then Julie King's from Wisconsin. Ruth Goss here. She wears um, a knee-high custom flat knit from Jobst, and then compression capris over that. So she has a couple of layers on. Gloria's here from Ogden, Utah. Hi, Gloria. You're not that far from me. She's been using Rubbermaid gloves to help her with her knee-high compression hose. Donna's here from New Hampshire. Sue Kaminsky's here from Two Rivers, Wisconsin. I'm so glad everybody's here today. So, Jeannie, I also know something else about you that other people might deal with too, and that's height. Your height your height causes you some issues.
I'm height
And
challenged.
your height challenge. Well, I say that because as a person already dealing with legs, and the length of your legs aren't your length of your legs isn't lengthy, know, you deal with something that um I like to talk about, and that's not being able to get on places like exam tables, get in and out of a taller vehicle, reaching into a cupboard because you aren't built the same way the rest of the world wants us all to be built. So what do you do? What do you do that you've shared with us so many times?
Okay. The one thing, I have two different types of steps things. I have a folding step that I have a cord or whatever, a rope tied to, that I have used sometimes getting into a vehicle, depending on the height. But I found now I use the bath steps that you can stack,
Right?
and I use them. A friend of mine has a van, and so to try and get into that is a little difficult. And when I'd had a right heart catheterization, they were saying you can't use your hands, you can't do this and that. And so we used the steps, and it worked perfectly because you have a wider base
Mhm.
to be able to turn around. Because it, and at the doctor's office, I take one step with me all the time because you never know the height of anything on it.
And
Even
and
the,
and
excuse
now do
me,
you have a little handle on it, a little strap? How do you carry
um,
it?
I use one of the nylon grocery bags that it
Okay.
just slips right inside. But I take it. There's one in my car all the time, and like going into the emergency room, you think, oh, that bed's low. Well, for me, it isn't. I'm only 5'2" and really
Right.
short. Like, and with a heavier legs, trying to sit on the bed and lift up your legs, it just doesn't work. And so they go, oh, well, we'll get you our metal step. Well, that's a good 8, 9 inches high, and there's no way of turning around to get on that bed. And so
Right,
with having the 4 inch step, I can get up, I can turn and be safe and
right,
get on the bed. And then if I can't get my legs up, they help me. But I've had more nurses and techs just are amazed at the having that type of a stool versus what they have.
right, right. Well, I know that the step idea was you brought it up to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, look at the width of the base. Now, as a person with lipedema, our our ankles don't get close together sometimes. So we automatically we need a step that's a little bit wider. And the steps that I got were like 18 inches wide by I think 14 inches,
Yeah, they're
deep,
14, 15, right? Yeah, and
right?
3 inch, 3.5, 4 inches high.
And they were only like this big, and that made such a huge difference getting in and out of the van. Now, granted, I didn't have like a rope hooked to it so that Aunt Sandy, because we did this with Aunt Sandy, so she could pull in her step. But just by having that step out there, as she got in and out of the middle, the side slider portion of the van, it gave her a solid step to stand on, and she could actually maneuver her feet on it because it's just like they make me think of the not jazzercise, step
They are,
aerobic,
yeah, the step aerobics,
aerobic
yeah.
step, but they're lightweight and they have a non-skid pad on it.
And I keep one in my car, but I've been traveling with one. Hotel room beds, most of them are really high
Right,
and try to get in. And also, even a handicap bathroom, a lot of times they don't have a walk in shower, they have
right,
just the bars into a tub.
right,
And that step up and over with a heavy leg or heavy legs is my,
right,
so I always carry it. And it comes in handy because it fits in most of it like a 24-inch suitcase.
right.
It's one of the last things I put into my suitcase. It goes in upside down. I put any liquids, whatever, or gadget stuff into it, and it holds clothes in place. They don't move, and I have my step.
You have your step. And so you can, and that's the other thing I noticed, like you say in hotels where you have a bathtub, the step from the bathtub out, it goes further down. You're always a little off balance. And so that little step, that 4-inch step, makes it easier getting in and out. And like you say, you put all your liquids in there, so it's all sealed up. And so it's a perfect thing to slide in. Now someone says, "Where can you get one of those?" Ruth got
You can get them on Amazon,
Yep.
and I prefer the ones that you buy individually. It's a little bit more, but every time I've tried to buy the three stack together, it they've come damaged because I don't know why they just seem to have the corners broken or whatever.
Yeah.
So buying the individual ones, but I do have four of them. I have three that I can step up, but I have by my bedroom where my pump is that it gives me that little extra because when I put the leggings on, I can get into bed, move easier on the bed.
Oh, okay. So you use them on the to get onto your bed as
When I'm
well when you're
when it's
pumping.
pumping and stuff because you put your garments on and to try and lift your leg up or with that garment it's a little harder. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but there's
And
some scabs.
yeah, they're not inexpensive. I mean, they're about $40, $30 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so when a person is shopping for one of those steps, I think one of the things that I look for with those is, do they stack and do they hook together so they're secure?
Yes.
Um, and it's called a bath. Is it called a bath step?
It's a bath step, yes.
Right.
And they are stackable. You can also get them for like for in your garage if your steps are too high
Right. To
or
get in and out of
whatever,
the house,
in and
right?
out of the house. They work wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the bath steps you can stack,
Right.
and they are secure. Um, they have like a ledge around them so that they sit on top of each other.
Right. And they
And
also have actually they have a little space to where if you have two side by side, you can hook them together. I
right,
think at least some of them do. They have
yes,
like a little space that like a little
there's a
divot that
little
you can
hook
hook the
and
other
it
one
fits.
in. Oop, I think I just lost Jeannie. There she is. She'll be back.
No, I'm here. Oh, sorry.
Okay. You just froze a little bit. It's either
Oh,
me or you.
well, it
But
could be we got a storm coming,
yeah.
but
So
um,
another thing that you talk about often is um, going going shopping for a gym that has a pool.
oh,
Okay. So we're always talking about people going into getting into the water, getting into the pool because we want our women to be able to use the pool for a natural way, an easier way of doing movement and exercise and getting our lymph flow. And but when you go shopping for a gym that has a pool, there's some things that you've discovered you have to look for.
right. Your senior citizens are the best places, but uh, I don't know if people have noticed most of the gym pools, their handrail ends at the edge of the top step, and that top step is usually fairly high up, and it could also have a little lip that sticks out, and so your foot catches.
When you're getting into
And
the pool,
well,
because
yeah, as you're getting up,
you can get into the pool just fine. Because even if you were to fall, you just fall into the water, right?
right, but it's getting out that our legs, especially if you've been working out for a long time, your legs are heavy as you're getting out, and to try to lift it up off that last step.
Right.
And so I make sure that they have a lower step on getting in and out. If they don't have a ramp, some places will have a ramp that you can go in. And I make sure that the handrail goes out 2 feet or so,
So it extends.
and that you have something to grab onto.
Now you use a rollator or a
Yeah,
cane,
yes.
right? And when you use the gym, which one do you use?
I usually will take my rollator in, but I have a folding cane, one of my old ones, that it can
Mhm.
go in the water
Okay.
too. And so I use that as an added, you know, safety
Right.
and stuff.
Right.
But so I have both that I use.
Okay. Yeah. Now we have a question here, and we're going to go back to the steps. Is there a weight limit on these steps?
Some of them do. The ones I think the ones I bought have like 400 pounds on
Okay.
them.
Yeah. And I think that those are the ones that I got too.
Yeah,
That they have I think it had a 350 or 400 pound. And one of the things that I saw is that they're not just an empty, they're not just empty inside the step. There's a grid in there
right.
that because like what I do is when I use them. And then when I put them on the inside the van, I flip it over and slide it under the seat of the van, and it looks like a drawer when you do that, but it actually has a grid of support inside there. I do have to say that the step that we took to Canada didn't survive the trip. because we all got out of the car, out of the van when we were stopped for gas and potty break, and the person who moved the van um out of the gas pump area forgot that there was a step sitting out there and ran over it. So it did not hold the weight of the van. So there was a weight limit, but I don't think that any of us weigh the amount of a van, and I don't think we have tires to roll over it. But yeah, so there might be a weight limit. So double check that when you go shopping for one, and know that that weight limit's there for your safety. But these are plastic. Um, they look like little plastic drawers that are flipped over, right? I mean, they usually have a non-skid sticker that you put on it. Now here's Ruth saying we need a whole webinar on this topic, and we've talked about that. I agree. We could all come up with one helpful hint, and we can come up with a lot of stuff. So, Sharon, is it Sharon Dixon? She says that she's 4'7" and she uses a step stool to get into her wheelchair school bus right now. And that makes a lot of sense. If you're 4'7", that step is too tall. It's just too tall. Um, I can tell you when we were in um, where were we? We got on a bus. Vancouver. The it was wonderful because the bus that we had to take, they lowered it lowered all the way down, and a wheelchair ramp came out. And it made it so Aunt Sandy could just walk directly onto that bus. Just because something says it's accessible doesn't mean it is for all of us. Those of us who are not wheelchair bound might not be able to handle steps. We might we might not be able to walk a long distance either. And so ramps seem to be a longer distance than like the 3 steps up to the doorway or whatever. They say, "Oh yeah, our handicap ramp," but it's a very, very long handicap ramp, right? And we're exhausted by the time we get up there. So we got Aunt Sandy a rollator that has a seat on it so she can stop, sit down, rest, get up and go. And so she doesn't need a rollator all the time for her balance. But if she's going any long distance at all, that rollator gives her a chance to rest so that she can keep going with us. And so we have found that a mobility aid is helpful. Another thing that Jeannie that you've talked to us about is your mom's shower.
Oh, uh-huh.
'Cause your house was built as a handicap accessible house,
Right.
right? So tell me about your mom's shower.
Okay. That and we did have to we put in afterward when she became more wheelchair bound. But it was a roll-in shower, and instead of having a little step up or something, it has a 2-inch silicone um, edging around it, so
Like
that
a
like with
flan?
a
Like a
huh
flan? Like a
yeah,
flan? Yeah.
right. And so you would roll in. She had a shower chair, and it would roll in, and that seal would go down and then pop right back up. And even if you step on it, it doesn't hurt, or on
Right.
it. And then when you roll out, it goes back and forth. And so it's a wonderful, if you're going to put in a roll in or a shower, it's something
Right.
to consider.
Yeah,
because as we get older, having even a 2-inch step up can be very hard, and you can't. I'm trying to get a wheelchair into it is harder
right.
um,
Well,
on it.
even if you have a rollator, it's hard to get it. You have to no, you have to manhandle it a bit, right, to get it in and out of those places. If you have to take something in or catching your toe on
Right.
on a sliding door ledge, it makes it easier to fall, and the last thing we want to do is fall. Right? So that every time you talk to me about that silicone flap, that silicone flange, I'm like, "Hmm, where do we get one of those?" And I'm sure you know exactly where to get one of those.
You can order on Amazon. You can get the full base. Eh,
Yeah,
You can find, or even I know that's where we got ours because we got two of them. We put it in my house and my sister's for sure. And but I think good chance Home Depot because it's been almost 20 years since we first put them in.
right,
And so Home Depot and Lowe's or one of those would probably have them that you can get them. But yeah, it goes down and it has ours does even have a slight ramp up or just to make sure it's an even flow with the width of it because of the type of chair she had.
right,
But
right,
before we had the roll-in shower, we had a hydraulic chair for her to get it because the benches and stuff aren't always that stable.
right.
And so we've had a chair that it would lower her into the tub and raise her up, and we could turn it around facing outward and use her easy pivot lift or whatever and lift her out of the stand her up out of in to get her into a wheelchair before
Right.
that. Um,
And speaking of the shower chairs, was it you that was talking about the chairs that hook to the side of the tub and you sit in it and then you put one leg over and then you pull the other leg over so it pivots on the side of the tub to help people get in and out of the tub?
yeah, on this, yeah, hers the way it would come up, it would rotate. You would have it facing towards you, out of the
Right.
tub, and the seat would fit on the edge of the tub. So you have that stability,
Mhm.
and so then we could put her into the chair, lift her legs up, and lift them into the tub, and then turn the water lever, and it would release the pressure and lower her down into the tub
Oh, wow.
and stuff.
Wow.
And then you turn the lever back and put the pressure, and it would raise her up. And it was a really nice type chair
Wow. Wow.
and
That's
stuff.
pretty impressive. So, yeah, so that made it so that she could live at home.
Yes.
A lot, yeah, so she could live at home. So, Jeannie, there's another thing that, I keep trying to I keep trying to remember all the things. Every time we turn around,
Uh,
you have another modification that you've made, and I can't remember them all. My brain's fried. Is there
okay.
anything else you can think of that
Well,
you do?
there's one. Well, I don't. That I used to use for her because trying to get her into a car or something,
Yes.
or even into bed. That to be able to for me to move her and her to slide, I made satin throws that I could put into and I could use them to lift her or move her across the beds. And so I'd put it across the seat in the car and she could slide in and I could move her
Oh. Oh,
and
that's a
stuff.
good
And
idea.
it's something for us that if you have a
Right.
caregiver that you have a hard time getting positioned in bed, you can buy it's like 54 inches wide satin material and they wash really good, get the washable and you can put it on your bed so it's comfortable to sleep on. But somebody else can help get you in bed and pull you across to get in.
Oh, that makes that's amazing. So, like, if you need help getting all the way into bed,
Right,
whether your legs are too heavy to move or you just don't have that where you don't have to go, then someone else you sit on that, they can get you on, and then they can slide you onto bed, and then they just leave it there
right,
because it's smooth. It's smooth. Oh, that's amazing. And I was oh, that's amazing. That's a great way to, help others help you,
right.
right?
Because that would be the main thing. It was that so I wouldn't hurt myself,
Right,
and it would help her be positioned into bed where she wasn't on the edge of the bed. And
right.
it was also getting her into a car that
Mhm,
my mother had MS, and so to get her in, and sometimes to try to get her positioned right, I could go across from the driver's side and I could pull her in using because that satin is strong, and
mhm,
you could pull her into the car and lift her up.
right. So then she's more comfortable, and you didn't have to push and shove her.
Right.
Well, and so that's an amazing modification where we can help each other through that and not have to work so hard to get people positioned. That's great. Thank you so much for that. There was something else, and that you still haven't said it yet. But
Oh,
okay, you know how I am. I listen, I listen, and little things trickle out of my brains. No, those are amazing, and I
oh, I know one thing.
okay.
Okay, anybody puts in the handicap bars,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
there's
grab
the it pays to get the thinner bars instead of the cheap bars. A lot of places you'll notice have what they're a cheaper one. They're a bigger. They're like 2.5 or so. A big, uh, good for a man, but for a woman to try and grab it, if you get the smaller bar, and it makes a difference for a woman to grab onto
oh.
versus the bigger bar. It's a little
Oh,
something,
oh, I
but
see.
most of your handicap things were designed by men. If you go into a handicap bathroom or whatever, you notice that they have these great big huge bars, or what
Mhm.
on most of them. And so but for a woman to grab it, it's harder.
Right, right.
And so it pays to pay a little bit more and get the narrower bar for a woman.
Oh, so you're gonna pay more for a smaller bar,
The narrower bar.
the narrow bar. You're gonna pay more, and of course, they're a little rough, so, they're not slippery. They're a
eh,
little bit they have a little texture to them, or
Some of them do, some don't.
yeah.
But
And have them you can also make sure when you do have those installed that you have them professionally installed so that they're a good height for you and in spaces where you're going to need those grab bars for safety. But yeah, this is amazing. I think that there's so many things that as community members that we can think about that will help us live our lives better and on our own, because we need to be able to be as functional, like Aunt Sandy says. I have to paddle my own canoe, and then we keep telling her, but sometimes, Aunt Sandy, there's a hole in our paddle. you know, sometimes, Aunt Sandy, there's a strong current, and you need help, and we really need to make sure we aren't too adverse to asking for help. We do need to ask for help when we need it. And I know that as a community member that we're always reaching out to each other, supporting, giving good hints and tips. In fact, a lot of people have said we really need a full webinar on this.
we've talked
So
about that.
yeah. So if there's anybody out there, and I know that I just saw Julie Stewart's name, And I know that there was a time, and I'm going to tell a story on you, Julie, when you fell. And when you fell, it was really hard for you to get up because you were wedged between the bed and the wall pretty much, right? So it's difficult. How do you get up when you fall like that? And you're not doing all. And she said that the paramedics who came in to help her up slid a sheet under her arms and were able to lift her using that support behind her back, right? And her whole body, and was able to pick her up because I can't pick you up by just holding your hand and getting you
Yeah.
up. So there are tips and tricks for everything that we do out there,
That's
and we should
one
share
thing
that.
I think everybody should have in their house, is a gait belt that the
Yes.
therapists use. It is a lifesaver for you and for your family to lift you or help you on it. Um, that it's would be like doing the sheet, but the um, if Julie had a gait belt, they could have used that, and it would have even been easier on her than using the sheet
Right.
up and around.
Right.
And they're not expensive.
No, in
You can get
fact,
them at any medical place, even at the pharmacy has them, and it just I don't know. You have so many things, and to get somebody even in and out of the car and
right,
whatever.
right. Yeah, I
But
know that we got a gait belt when Guy had his open heart surgery, and he started walking afterward, that evening the next day, and they put a gait belt on him, and then they can't use it again. So of course they sent it home with us. So we have a gait belt now. But before that I didn't have one. So these are um just great tips.
yeah,
And like
Juanetta says about caregivers getting hurt, and that is true.
right,
Um, it's well, in fact, I was at the doctor's office the other day. Well, I'd taken a friend to an appointment, and there was this older woman sitting in a wheelchair, and she was there to get a pain shot. And she said that she had hurt her neck and stuff when she was in a hospital. She was a nurse, and she said they used to, before they taught them, that the patient would reach up behind their neck and when they would go to lift them.
right,
And it was years later that they finally started, that they use gait belts or different things.
right,
And so,
right. So as we start to wrap up here, we've been on this thing for 53 minutes. We didn't think we could talk this long, and of course, you and me, Jeannie, we can talk forever. Um, as I'm going to read a couple more. First of all, Julie Rosa, she's such a riot. Um, this was a jam packed with fantastic information. I thank you two sweeties, and then she says, "Wash hands." So I never know what Julie's a hoot. Um, and Moneta says, we had OT from home health come and teach us how to move him. So when she was working with her dad, and all these things are really important. And as we take care of other people, or as we have people help us take care of us, or they're taking care of us as we go through our lives, the more practical experience that we have, the more tips that we get from people who have gone through all this, the better. And so we really, really appreciate you coming here today, Jeannie, and just sharing a few of the tips that you've gathered over the years. I am going to have to I do have to promote a couple of things here. As you know, we are always, always looking forward to our educational events. We get our knowledge from each other. As Dr. Carmody says, the Wisdom is in the patient, the wisdom is in the community. And with that, we do something called the Heart to Heart. It's a 3-day event. Our 3-day event this year, in this fall, is going to be in October. Let me find those dates. And it's the Heart to Heart event, October 27th, 28th, and 29th. Lipedema Simplified puts on 2 Heart to Heart events a year. The one in the fall is holistic, so it's going to be about a lot of different topics. Um, and there's still time to register. I am going to put that in the comments right now. So you can still register for this event. The beauty of the Heart to Heart events is we talk just like this. We talk to each other, right? We have experts, we have patient panels, we have people who have lived with the lipedema and people who have given tips and tricks and knowledge to people with lipedema. So there's all kinds of information coming in, and then we get to discuss it. So that is what a Heart to Heart is all about. We get to discuss things. It's a 3-day event, like 10-hour days, so you can come and go out of there as you need to. I'll be there doing something. I'm sure Jeannie will be there doing something. I'm sure, whether she wants to or not. I will, recruit her because that's what I do. But it'll be a wonderful event. And so if you get a chance to register for that, do that. And then keep track of everything when we do free webinars, all those sorts of things. Okay, promotion over. Because you know me, I've got to promote something. Um, so if you have questions, if you have anything you need to say, always throw me an email. As soon as I find my email address, there it is. I'm at Gail at lipedema-simplified.org. Just throw me an email. If you want to reach out and ask Jeannie questions, send it to me and I'll get that forwarded over to Jeannie. Anyway, so that's where we are right now. So let's see if I have anybody else who wants to ask a question. Will there be replays of the Heart to Heart? Gloria, there will be. If you register for Heart to Heart, we have the basic package where you come in for the 3 days. And then if you want to get replays, you can upgrade and have the replays available to you. It comes in about a week later. We have them all edited because when you think about recording a 10-hour day, you're not going to want a recording of a 10-hour day. That would just make that's just a lot, right? So we go through and we edit them all into sections and segments, and we get rid of all the fluff, and we make them that way. And so you can buy um, an upgrade for the VIP package, and that will give you all of the replays. This makes it so that we can. I mean, we have to have people. We have to have a technical crew to do all that editing, and so it just pays for the technical crew to do that, the editing. And so we do have the VIP package. The upgrade of the VIP gives you more than that, though. It gives you VIP access to things like Q&As and some other bonus packages and things like that. I do have to tell you, anybody who's registered for the Heart to Heart will also get some of our bonus sessions where, for example, Angeline Peterson, who's a pelvic floor specialist, she needs more than 20 minutes. And so she's not going to be at the Heart to Heart. She's going to be a 90-minute bonus session later. So whenever you just get the Heart to Heart, you're always going to get more. It's not just a 3-day package. There will always be more coming from us. And so, yes, let's see what else we have here. Kristen says, "Thank you for the helpful hints and encouragement from Colorado." Cheryl says, this is one of the things that I like. She goes, "We have to sometimes get inventive. I used a ratchet strap around my foot to lift my foot and leg up into the van after a bad fall last winter. I could fit it, I could lift it at my comfort level and speed." So you used it, it went around your foot, and then you didn't have to like grab a hold of your pant leg and your whole leg and pull it in. You were just able to use that strap like a handle to just get that leg in there. That's a great idea, Cheryl. Thank you. Oh, and when I told Julie, Julie said I was applauding in it when it said wash hands. Okay, no problem, Julie. We were applauding you. Um, so fun. Um, let's see what else we have in here. Let's see. That looks like it is. That's it. So Jeannie, I want to thank you for being here with us today. And, we've gone past our hour. My limit's 20 minutes, and so so when I hit that
You're
hour
right.
mark,
You were right.
when I hit that hour mark, I know things are going well. Hi, Catherine. She just sent us a heart. Um, but Jeannie, as with all of my guests, I usually end by asking, um, if there was a message that you would like to see echoed around the world, what would you like to share tonight?
You have to take care of yourself if you're going before you can take care of somebody else. Is my
Yeah,
because if you don't take care of yourself, you aren't going to be able to help your family members or anybody else.
yeah, yeah, and that is one of the things that we do focus on, isn't it? That care. I mean, we really do. We seem to always be taking care of somebody else, of something else.
I learned it the hard way. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
and we do need to take care of ourselves. That's
so
true, as best as we can. And I would like to add to that, don't don't begrudge yourself if you need to ask for help, right? It's
right.
don't if you're doing you can only do what you can do. And if you need help, make sure that you ask for help. Know that we're here for you. I'm Jeannie's always here for me. I ask her for help all the time. You know, I'm hoping that she does the same for me. But we're here for you, and we know that you're here for us because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, right? So with that, I want to tell everybody from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. Jeannie, thank you for being with me, and we shall see you next week.